Hey, what's up guys? Sci-Fi Gaming here. Welcome to GBO2 update number 10. The new suits are in and it looks like we have the Zigok E, the big boy, the big one. A lot of people disappointed to, not see the Camphor and the Alex in here, but all this says to me is that, those could be next, or maybe they'll drop an MSV suit next and then after that one, because these are also 0080 suits. So it falls in line with the suits they've been releasing, so we're still en route to possibly get the Camphor and the Alex sometime soon. Along with this update, also dropped the RX-77D, the mass production Guncannon. So if you haven't seen that one, that's the one that some people call the football player because of the shape of his head. He's got the snubby launchers on his back. And interesting enough, that suit is supposed to be dual wielding a 100mm machine gun. So it'll be I guess the first suit to dual wield the machine guns. So that's pretty cool. So we'll take a little look at the video here for the Zigok E. This suit, my buddy Leo already rolled one, as he normally does He does get lucky and roll the banner suits pretty much every time one comes out. So he was kind enough to send me the stat sheet and his skills. So we'll take a look at those a little bit later. Alright guys, so here's the stat sheet for the Zigok E. As you can see, it comes in at cost of 400, level 1. It is a red melee type suit. Good amount of part slots down there, 15, 10, 3 from short range to long range. Good amount of health, 14, 5, 13, 13, and then let's see, what was that? So it'd be 16, 17, 18, 19, yeah, so 16 for melee resistance, stock settings, and then 10 for shooting, and what would that be, like 30? Yeah, 30 for melee, and then really good speed stats, 130 and 60 for the thrusters. As you can see, we have the skills right here next to it. It has the performance balancer, it has quick boost, it has EAC, which is the one at the bottom, the dodge roll. It also has the explosive proof mechanism, so you don't get stunned after killing people, as well as the 3-hit combo. And I think that's it. I might be missing one, but that's pretty. Oh, it also has maneuver armor. Yes, can't forget that. So here you go. Back to the update. But it does fire the particle cannons pretty quick, and it does seem to be pretty combat effective. There was a lot of balance changes, and some of the first nerfs and buffs that we've seen in the game so far actually listed on the website. So let's take a look at the store. There's no new step-up system or particular lotto system this time. There are some additions to the DP store, so it looks like the level 4 Zaku FZ, the level 4 Goof, and then the level 4 gun tank. The Magella top cannon is now purchasable in the, for DP. Interesting thing about that, though, we were kind of worried about everybody getting their hands on that and that becoming a lot more annoyingly prolific, I guess you could say. But along with the first balance changes, or some of the balance changes they've done, I guess they're not necessarily the first, but they lowered its range from 600 meters to 500 meters, or what I call meters. I don't know if they're actually meters, but that's just the way I think about it. It's easier for me. So that's a good thing, I think, to kind of nerf its range a little bit. If there was new parts in the parts store, I don't know, I must already have them, because I didn't see them on here. They did add these 3 LBVs, looks like plate carriers, to the fashion shop. But probably one of the most interesting things about this drop is this right here. The Thunderbolt suits are now available in the recycle store. They will be in the recycle store for 2 days only, as it is right here. And then after that, they will be, periodically coming back every now and then. But they'll be here for 2 days after this update. I believe it's the 11th and the 12th. and then, as I said, after that they go into normal rotation. Got the little burst gun in there, as I call it, the burst machine gun. This got a nice little buff to it. I actually like using this gun, and just because it's something different, you know, and it's a very unique play style. It's not the most effective weapon, but I've done some interesting things with it. I've had an interesting space round with it where I actually became the ace with this thing. So it's cool. It got a pretty decent damage buff, and we'll go over that in just a second and see if there was anything in the parts. I don't think so. And then a couple other fashion items, some goggles, and that seems to be it. Now, talking about, as I said before, the other suit that came out with the ZGOC is the Guncannon mass production type. It's a 300 support, 300 cost support class. It's usable in the ground, on the ground, and in space. The ZGOC is only usable on the ground, but it's a red suit, and it's a huge red suit. So I mean, that's pretty cool. And like I said, it seems to be pretty combat effective, and it doesn't really seem like, you know, like the other aquatic suits that we've been getting. I really like the Hygog. I got lucky and picked one of those up last night with 3 tokens that I got out of a gold crate from my daily crates. So that was awesome, and I like that suit a lot more than I thought I was going to. And this suit seems to be a little bit more in line with that one, as it actually is combat effective. I really like the AT guy. I like the stealth suits. I like the, you know, the idea of that. I just wish the AT guy could move while he was firing his particle cannons and his missiles. They just needed to do something to really help that suit out. But unlike the other aquatic suits, this one is not so lackluster. So I think the Hygog and this suit are the more viable ones of the aquatic suits that we've been getting. I'm going to go over some details and some of the other balance changes. They're the big things that came in. Thanks to my buddy Invisible Cow over at our subreddit GBO2. Check it out if you're a Redditor. He's our man in Japan. He's an American who lives there and works there, and so he gets the scoop and posts it up for us right whenever he gets it. And I was telling my buddy, we got to make this guy a mod immediately. So he's one of our moderators on GBO2, and he just does a fantastic job. We can't think of enough for typing this up for us. And let's see. So the environment specializations that I was talking to you guys about last time, you know, they said that they knew that they was going to break some suits. They said that it was going to overspec some suits, and they were going to try and fix that. So it appears, you know, that they have dialed back, I guess, the amount of buffs that those get, because they were pretty much getting, you know, whatever parts you stacked onto, like, say, the ground commander, which was making that thing very strong, along with, you know, what people are calling the ghost range, you know, of its melee hit. The addition of these specializations, you know, its overheat, its movement speed was faster. They were walking around like a Gundam with, you know, with the movement speed part. When they overheat their thrusters from rolling, they were recovering, you know, extremely quickly, really fast. So that all those buffs were stacking with the parts and everything else. So they said that they, I guess, tuned it, and they didn't give us any exact details. They reduced, I guess, and they, like I said, all I can say is it seems like they said they tuned them. We haven't done a lot of extensive testing in free play or in our private matches to check out exactly how big of a difference there is. But, you know, we've checked out some of the other buffs and nerfs, and it's pretty cool. They're just chugging right along in the game. So me, for one, I'm happy to see that they're actually making some big changes like this, or just, you know, minor tunings and some other big changes. So really happy about that in general, that the game seems healthy and that they're working on it. So the ZGOC got a little bit of buff. He's got a little bit higher spec thrusters. They're up to 55 now, and he's got 1500 more health. Got a little bit of a damage boost to his particle cannon and the rate of fire. It kind of seems like they were making it because the Zogok or the Zigok E and the Hygog, they can both fire their particle cannons really fast. I mean, you can hold the button and just empty that thing, which is really, really fun. The other thing I like about the Hygog is how effective and fast his Vulcans are. So it seems like the Hygog was kind of the benchmark for the new settings and new stats for weapon systems like that, because they're kind of moving them in that direction, if you will. The GM Striker, they gave him a little buff, 1000 health, and this is across all levels, as they say in here in a lot more words than that. So the GM Striker gets 1000 health. The At Guy, they changed his stealth skill to level 2, so he is invisible even closer, but we got to do some more testing on that as well, because I've even seen the Pixie that's supposed to be, I think, what was it, within 100 meters, I guess, if he fires his weapon. So maybe it's only if he fires his weapon, because I'm pretty sure I can just walk up behind people and still stab them, and they don't even see me on the radar until I pull the trigger on something, So we got to test that out. Stealth skill up to level 2. His head Vulcan's got a range buff. They're now effective out to 300 meters, or 300, 300 range. It's probably not 300 meters, but that's just, like I said, that's just what I call it. The range. I'm used to ranging weapons and stuff, so that's what I'm used to. And yeah, they improved the ASL on it, the auto aiming, and he got some buffs to his melee, but they still haven't given him the ability, and I don't know if they'll ever give him the ability to walk around and shoot. But I still like to try and run that suit every now and then. But the more and more suits that come out, it wasn't too bad in the beginning, when he was out there. But now there's just so many more suits that are dangerous, way more dangerous than he is. The Gelgoog, this was interesting. So it seemed like they were, as you know, the Federation. The Federation beam sabers, they have a lot of, a long range. Plenty of, we've all been hit where it looks like we were outside of the range of the beam saber, but it still hits us. So, the Gelgoog's melee weapon, he keeps it really close to his body, and pretty much when you do the downswing, the knockdown attack with that, he hits people in the front of him, to the right of him, and behind him, but it's still a fairly low range. So I guess to bring him in line with the Gundam, it says, as they said, across all costs, mobile suit costs, that they're making his melee range more effective. I guess so he's supposed to have a little bit longer reach with that thing, maybe. They did, pretty much everything that uses the Federation and most melee suits, including the EZ8. As I've been talking about, I just kind of thought that they should take away the ability for him to hit people while they're down, or with his dash attack, just because there's other mobile suits that can't hit people when they're on the ground and they're using a stab attack. But I just thought that would make him pretty even up, but even him out. But this, I'm happy with the changes they've made. So pretty much all the melee have what they're calling, I guess it's the Invisible says, it's a hitbox adjustments, pretty much. Yeah, they're just changing, they're making it tighter. We saw a lot of crazy. The Freak High is included in there. The Gundam Pixie is included in there. As you've seen, I mean, a Gundam Pixie, you can take the hit from his knockdown attack before his blades are even in front of him. As you know, he does that swing animation. But if you're anywhere in that cone of effect, you're going down whether or not the blades hit you. If it's just his fists, if you're right in front of him, it doesn't matter. That's just an animation. That's not the actual, the action and the code that's going on right there. So they've tightened everything up. Everything was really loose and a little sloppy, and it felt that way. It did feel sloppy because people were getting hit way out of line, left and right. I'd see an EZ8 slide right by, so by me on the left or on the right, and he'd still get me. Same thing with, you know, with the Afrikai and his big swings is very similar to the Pixie. So they all have a much tighter, I guess, cone of effect for those weapons, which is cool. I like the fact that they're tightening things up. You can be a little bit more accurate, and hopefully we'll see a little bit tighter gameplay and all that. The downward attack, as I was talking before about how strong the GM commanders are, and I get hit by those things just incessantly when I'm way outside their, you know, their range. So they're kind of drawing back or reining in the range of that beam saber and that downward attack, which will be cool. Again, just tightening up the gameplay. So let's see. So we talked about the Gelgoog and his melee adjustments. The gun tanks get a health buff, as well as their main missile launchers, their quad missile launchers getting a damage buff. Both of those tanks got health buffs and damage buffs, along with the, you know, the buffs that they got from last time with, or in the last patch with their skill, their new skill that they got. The other balance changes on one of the, you know, the sniper rifle, the long range beam rifle, he got a 100 range boost. And it also destroys shields faster now. It has a damage bonus against shields, which is kind of cool, because I kind of hate wasting, you know, a lot of shots. Everybody hates landing a shot on the shield. We all hate that. But at least now you're doing more damage to those shields. Get them out of the way. This is the one I was talking about earlier, the long range, or the long barrel Zaku machine gun. I call it the burst gun because it fires in a 3-round burst. I didn't really like the fact that, you know, that it had an 18-round magazine and all. I thought that there was a lot of other things they could have done. But this is pretty cool. I'm happy with this. From 273 damage up to 375 base damage for the level 1, and also he can equip it faster. You know, that bar that you have to wait to fill up when you swing the weapon out. At least now you can equip it faster. So if you're engaged really close and you're switching weapons and you want to, you know, you can be more effective and bring that weapon to bear a lot faster than you could before. So I'm happy about that, and I can't wait to play it with the new damage buff, because like I said before, I was doing okay with it. You know, I wasn't putting up a lot of top numbers, but I was an ace one time with that, so I'm happy about that. I like playing those odd weapons and odd suits. The Gatling shield on the Goof Custom, one of my personal favorite suits of all time. I was happy about this because it goes up from 200 to 250. So it's got 50 more reach on there, bringing it in line with the 100mm machine gun, the Zaku 2 machine gun. All those weapons shoot out to 250, and as you know, the Bullpup, most of the laser weapons, or the smaller laser weapons, they shoot only into the 200 range. So I was really happy about that. He really needed something, especially going up against, say, something like the faster, or pretty much any suit that has explosives, because he doesn't have explosives. So it's kind of hard to get a stun on people. So you really need to be able to start putting, you know, damage on those guys as they're closing in on you. And this just really helps with that, to try and balance him out and make him a little bit more effective against something like the prototype Gundam that has, you know, can equip a bazooka, something like that, and then hop in there and start tearing him up. So the Magella top cannon, as we said, and now instead of 600, it's down to 500. So instead of 600 meters, it's 500 meters. The hyper hammer damage, Leo was pretty happy about this. So they made it a little bit, or I should say probably a lot more effective. They upped the damage by 150. The recover speed is improved, so you know, after you swing it, your stun from having used the weapon is reduced, as well as switching to it. When you switch to it, the time it takes to equip it is reduced. All the bazookas, talking about you know, bazooka metas and everything like that that's going around. I thought that they had changed the bazooka blast radius in the last patch, but they officially said it in this one, so maybe it's just now happening. But I definitely saw a difference, I thought, in the standard Xeon, you know, Zaku 2 bazooka. I thought that was a lot smaller than it was before, but it says they adjusted the splash radius. Didn't say anything about the stun, didn't say anything about the damage output. Just the blast radius has been adjusted, as they say, adjusted by appearance, or per appearance, according to appearance. So most people are saying that it's just a smaller hitbox across the board. Some people are saying it has to do with the size of the shell, you know, because each bazooka kind of shoots a different, like giant bazooka obviously fires a bigger shell than the standard smaller Xeon bazooka. So we kind of have to test out to see if they all have the same splash radius or if they're individual. We still got to test that. All the Vulcans are more effective against infantry. I thought they already implemented that as well, and then this is a good one that I thought, because I remember reading. We're talking now. We're going to talk about the smoke grenade, because I use, you know, you guys know that I use the Zaku cannon all the time. I love that thing. When you look at it, it says here in the description for the smoke grenade that it's supposed to provide cover. I think it even says stealth, but I thought it said stealth when I first got it. I can't change it later. But down here it says it's supposed to, you know, provide concealment. And now apparently it was broken before. This whole time it hasn't been working as intended, and now it does conceal you from radar for a short period of time. It always has given you a damage buff, which is good, but now it conceals you as it's supposed to, which is even more effective for this suit right here, especially with the shotgun build, because with the Ifrit had the smoke, and it makes sense now that, you know, they're saying that the smoke grenade is supposed to, or the smoke plume is supposed to hide you and conceal you on the radar, because how else, you know, it would be really hard to just get within shotgun range, effective shotgun range, and to get your stun combo going with the shotgun. But now it makes a lot more sense. You pop the smoke, it gives you a little bit of time to close the distance on somebody, sneak up behind them, and then, you know, get it well within shotgun range and start doing damage. So that's really cool. That's a really cool effect to see in the game. Picked up a Blue Destiny just by chance when I was trying to roll for the new suits, and as well as a 400 cost FZ, but that's beside the point. Some of the other changes, what was it they added? We talked about the Thunderbolt suits being in the recycle store. The commands, the GM commands, these things are super strong right now. Both of them, the space and the ground, now have a level 4 variant that is at 400 cost. So you'll start seeing those more and more across the board. So I think that's pretty much going to do it for this update. Thanks for checking it out, guys, and stay tuned to Sci-Fi Gaming for all the GBO2 updates, and try and pop into one of our live streams that we do. We always do a live show the night of. I start around 10:30 p.m. on Wednesday, and obviously the suits just happen to drop at 12 midnight my time Thursday morning. So we all get together, we speculate, we talk about, you know, what it would be and what it's going to be. We get into some custom games. We all have a great time. And then we all get to see if we want to try and roll for the new suits, or if we're just going to save our tokens for the next time. So again, thanks guys for checking out Sci-Fi Gaming, and stay tuned. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.